Question 9. Showing all of your workings, find which of the quantities 13 over 20, 0.62 and 66% is the smallest and the largest. So the easiest way to do this is turn all of these, because we've got a fraction, a decimal and a percentage, we need to turn them all into the same. So if we put them all into percentages, 66% is already done for you. We need to turn this 0.62 into a percentage to go from a decimal to a percentage. We have to times by 100. If we want to go from a percentage to a decimal, we divide by 100. So in this case, we want to put this into a percentage. So that there will be 62%, timesing that by 100. 1, 2, 62%. Now we need to get this fraction in a, if you've put those two into percentages, you'll have 1 mark for that. And then to put this fraction into a percentage, so this is saying 13 out of 20. But when we think of percentages, it's like saying out of 100, because 100 is the total percent that you can have. So now we need to make this exactly the same. So how did we get from this 20 to that 100? 20 times what is 100? 20 times 5 is 100. So now to make this the same, I've got to say, well, what I do to the bottom, I've got to do to the top. So if I times these by 5, I have to times that by 5. Well, 13 times 5, you can do that in your head, or you can do a little sum if you want. I'm going to say, well, 5 times 10 is 50, and 5 times 3 is 15. So 50 and 15 will be 65. Or you could say 12 times 5 is 60, so 13 times 5 must be 65. So 65 out of 100, well, that's the same as saying 65%. So now I've got all three of these as percentages. I can see very clearly which one is the smallest and which one is the biggest, because I've got 62, 65 and 66. So the smallest one is 62, which in its original state was 0.62. And then the largest is 66%, which was 66%. So the examiner will give you 1 mark if you changed either of these to a decimal or a percentage, 1 mark if you have 13 out of 20 is 65%, and 1 mark for your final answer of having both of these correct.